Cool.
I don't see anybody on here.
So then we do get a countdown, but nothing's on the YouTube yet.
I guess not.
So maybe that goes on at 7. So
maybe 4 people are watching us right now. Hey, everybody, if you're out there.
Oh, here we go.
Let's say yes. Oh, now we have the chat over here. We're just figuring this out. It's our first show live. Not our first show live ever, Doc, but it is our first show live.
No.
So we just wanted to come on a little bit early for everybody out there watching. If you could say hello to us, just so I know my chat works, if you don't mind. But welcome, anybody that's there. I know it's not time yet, so we're just rambling on, talking about what we're going to go over. And
which we don't even know yet. So
no, we're winging it. No, we've actually gone over some stuff, actually, believe it or not.
Believe it or not. Notes and all kinds of spreadsheets, all kinds of fun stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a good time. And welcome everybody out there. Like I said, say hello in the chat just so I know. That
hey, all right,
hey, Invisible Wolfman, the first person in chat. You're going to go down in the Hall of Fame for us, right?
Yes, yeah, no, and thanks, Invisible Wolf. We're just popped on a minute or so early to get some kinks out, so you're getting some behind the scenes stuff.
Now you're going to see you in the chat. I'm playing around, so be ready. We're going to talk about these 1 through 5 things, everybody out there, and I don't know why my thing keeps on. Oh, well, listening from work. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Good man. Good person.
Yeah,
I like
that. Absolutely. You're working like and listening. That sounds like Doc. Actually. I sent a little behind the scenes for everybody. I sent Doc a picture the other day of I was backstage. You saw me, like I had my feet up and I'm editing one of the videos, like with my feet up in my costume. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, John. All right. Well, I think it's 7 o'clock, Buck.
Is it? It's 6:59. Why are you jumping the gun? All right, we'll start anyway. 7 o'clock. Here it is. I saw it. All right. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. Hi, everybody. We are trying to build this community. We are Classic Couch from the Triple Clowns Network. If you don't know us, I am Buck Wonder. Doc Wagner is alongside me. And we had a lot of fun, I'm going to tell you, joining this community. Doc's been, doing his thing out there and doing the first 5 episodes of the Twilight Zone. I see I'm a little choppy right now. I hope you guys can all hear me. But
you can.
Okay, good. We are excited to do this. We talked about a lot of it in going like first 5 episodes because there's so much to talk about. Hope you guys all watched them. If you haven't yet, please do. Hit that like and subscribe on YouTube or anything like that. It helps us out a lot. And just follow along with us. We have fun doing it. Bear with the breakdown, all the other stuff. And then we talk about it. We do a lot of fun things. We do casting, who we'd cast for the characters now. We talk about symbolism. We talk about favorite scenes. We talk about
what happens after the camera stopped. And hey, Wolfgang communicates with us on Twitter, or on X, I should say. Thanks for stopping in.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know why it didn't pop up on our screen up here, but I don't know. Trying to figure that out on the way as well. So let's get into it. Skybird, hi. A lot of comments from Skybird I see sometimes, and we appreciate that, of course.
Yes.
So all right, let's get right into it for everybody out there. I know these are obviously what do you call them? What do they call themselves, Doc? Zoners?
Zoners. Yeah, that's our hashtag on Twitter, Zoners.
All right.
And like Buck said, I had so much fun during the Twilight Zone marathon on New Year's Eve, and it was so fun, interactive. We want to continue with that community. So hopefully we're going to do this every 5 episodes. My man Dwight is here. Really cool artist, and he's a big zoner. Does a lot of graphic novels. Hey, Dwight. But yeah, we hope to do this every 5 episodes, like Buck said.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to recap it and everything. And we want to do a lot more. We want to do like top 5 acting performances. We want to just talk about these things. And I am a little bit newer to it than you guys. I'm an avid watcher. I watched it a lot. I love it. I love the old cinema. I love the old TV. And you guys are teaching me so much. I'm trying to follow along and having some fun with it. And that's my job. So hopefully we
And I have to keep Buck in line.
yeah,
Hey, Bean and John, thanks for coming in.
absolutely. Thank you guys. So let's get right after. Let's go episode 1. And you guys please join in when we talk about it. We have Mike Ferris. Doc, tell us about episode 1 real quick. Like I said, we have the breakdown. We do our actors. We're going to show you all the actors we picked in it. But like to know the other people who they'd have in it and everything like that. But let's just break down it real quick. Mike Ferris.
Episode 1, Walking Distance, the pilot episode. It opens. We see we don't know, someone who stumbles into a area, but there's no one. There's no one there. A coffee pot is full of coffee. There's no one in the community. Where is everyone? Fast forward, because we all know what this is about. We all know this. Great performance by Earl Hallman, and probably the biggest Twilight Zone twist of them all. The day we recorded the summary for Where Is Everybody, Earl Hallman passed away. Kind of an eerie fact. But as it turns out, Mike Ferris, the character, was actually an astronaut, and he was in a simulated box for, I believe it was 4 days to go to possibly the moon.
Yeah, and before, yeah, and we obviously this is, I want to know from everybody out there, and we can talk about that, Doc, if no one wants to join in, that's fine. What was it like? And maybe somebody out there was watching that. I mean, this popped up. This episode, I know we talk about our show a lot, but all of a sudden you're watching Gunsmoke and Wagon Train and everything like that. Then all of a sudden you get this very, I use the word simple way too much because it sounds terrible, but simple, easy. What's going on here? What is this? I wonder what people were thinking.
Oh, suspended I can't even speak. Suspended animation.
Like me trying to say pilgrimage on the last one. Yeah.
I like that, Dwight.
Maybe since suspended animation, I just did the same thing. Animation. Jeez, it's catchy. Yeah, it could be. But I mean, watching this and what groundbreaking it was 10 years before the moon landing, right?
Well, that's what it is. 10 freaking years.
10 years before the moon landing, and I mean,
and we're going to say this, I feel like, about every episode, just how visionary Rod Serling was.
And for everybody out there right now, we're going to do a fun thing at the end of this. I'm excited for this. Doc and I have come up with something. Not only we kind of want to hear what characters you'd have if it was nowadays, that's fine. We want to hear what happens to these characters afterwards. And Doc and I have come up with a few things of what's next for Mike Ferris. So I don't know, we got a little bit more before we get into it, but what do you guys think? Shout out to Joe over there. I know he was going to finish that with. He was. But what do you think they would do afterwards? But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, and how great of a performance from Earl Hallman, because we discussed this in our show from earlier. It's essentially a one-man performance until James Gregory comes along as the general, but to act with essentially no one, and this episode sold the series essentially. And Holloman's performance was mesmerizing.
Yeah, really hard to do. Like I say, I mean, working by yourself with no one around in a new show. It's not like you have this built-in audience. It doesn't. A lot of pressure on
what
him.
The hell is this? Right. It's not Wagon Train. It's not Have Gun Will Travel, which the audiences in 1959 were used to.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I want to know, for people out there, what do you think? I mean, did you watch this first? I wondered that a little bit.
Good question.
I'm sure I didn't watch this first.
No.
I'm sure I didn't. I would say it probably came later on. And everything.
I got it, Dwight. Okay. Dwight says maybe he's in suspended animation now.
He's jumping ahead. He's
already
telling. Yeah, all right. He's ahead of the curve. There were no bad actors on TZ. Yes, Dwight. No, there. I mean, we're trying to find Doc will tell you every child actor is bad in Twilight Zone.
Not every single one.
But
But you're right, and that's what we talk about a lot, Dwight, is how they take this script, they take the words that were written by Serling or Buck or any of the other writers, and they just eat it up.
They really do. We talk about this. It's basically like a stage performance. That's how it was back then. It wasn't 15 cuts, 15 takes. It was, one guy. And if you watch, a lot of the times, camera just runs and just moves with them, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So, that was an amazing episode right there. Inception. Okay, like the dream thing. Oh, Inception. That was hard for me to get through. I have to admit, Inception. It's a great movie. But I kept weirdly falling asleep every time. Oddly enough, falling asleep.
And you're right, Wolfgang. It is one person. It must have been so much pressure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said on the show, when you have a script, how many lines did he have? Not many, but you're the only one there. There's a crew. There's everybody staring at you, and you're just performing to no one.
It was probably the 3 days of filming. The first 2 days was him walking around. At the time, it was Universal Studios for the first episode. Just following him around, talking to the mannequin, or in the soda shop.
Yeah, exactly. That was my favorite scene. He starts talking to the mannequin, which I did.
It was, yeah. You really got a kick out of that one.
I did, because I really thought it was funny. And there's all those things in the older movies, obviously.
And James Gregory did a hell of a job as the general, by the way.
He did. And think about having James Gregory in that small part.
Yeah.
When you really break it down to be that was James Gregory as it. So that was it. That was a feel good, we would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely it was.
Yeah, feel good. You kind of felt for the guy and everything like that. Felt for Mike Ferris. So, Doc, and now everybody's got their thinking caps on, I hope, because we're going to tell you now. What did you think, Doc, happens after this first episode with Mike Ferris? You're Rod Serling. I mean, you're no Rod Serling. I know.
No.
I don't know.
I'm anything but. I had that 10 years from then that Mike Ferris on July 20th, 1969 took the first human steps on the moon. And what every school child knows now as the first word spoken on the moon, where is everybody? He looked around and said those famous words, but after 10 years in the space program, he earned his way and he was the first person to walk on the moon.
Oh, so you're going straight up, but he is the first man to walk.
Oh, easy. Yeah, I'm not as talented with the pen as you, Buck. So that's mine.
Okay, well then you're gonna get mine. And I did just make these up quickly because I usually think it's fun. The first thing that come to my head and I just fire them is usually like my best, because if I stop and think about it, it's ridiculous. So I put Mike Ferris returns to astronaut training to get ready to go to the moon, but time has caught up with him because it takes a little while because it's 10 years. He gets a little old. So he's a little too old to go. So then he has a protege that he trains. But they want him to go into the same experience Mike did and go through that. But Mike doesn't want him to do it. So he has to prepare him to go back.
Oh, wow.
Into the situation. I don't know what happens next. He defeats it, or Mike says it's too awful. I don't know. But that was my next thing that happened.
Now, I like it. Now, what another thing that we do on our show, and we're going to do it and extend it out, what to hear from everybody. If you were to recast it, not if Hollywood was to recast it, but if you were to recast it, Buck and everybody else, who do you think would play a great Mike Ferris and the general?
Well, we do have ours on here, and we do. Let me try to put that up there for you. There it is. So you had Sam Rockwell, and you had James McAvoy there.
Yeah, I think that James McAvoy role in Split alone was pretty wild. Oh, wow, change it up. It was pretty wild, and I think he could play that isolation part excellently.
Yeah, I do too. Anybody out there, throw it out there for us. Who do you think would be good in those parts if you think about it? Especially, well, obviously Mike Ferris. Mike Ferris. Who nowadays could play Mike Ferris?
In Sam Rockwell is a good choice for you as well, Buck. Just based on the movie Moon alone.
Yes, I know, and yeah, I went early with Sam Rockwell, which I
You
don't
did
know.
well. As we discussed, I think Sam Rockwell is going to be your Burgess Meredith.
He probably will be. He will be.
Thank you, John.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Mac. I mean, can you go wrong?
No, I mean he could be also Martin Sloan. He could be James McAfee. Could be my could be my Burgess Meredith.
Everything we do, that's a guy like under 50 and over. No, I mean, you can do under 60. He'll be fine. And
I'll be fine with that. Yeah,
over 25, and you're good. You're good with him. But yeah, I mean, what a great first episode.
Yeah,
and we rated it. I remember we rated it a little higher because it was the first.
yes.
And I wonder what people out there think about the fact of. I remember saying that if this wasn't the first episode, if this was in the middle of the second season, would we still have thought it was so great, or was it the time?
It's a valid point. It's a valid point.
Yeah, I wonder what people were saying like that. So do we move on to the second episode?
Yeah.
Doc, you ready?
Let's talk about Lou Bookman and One for the Angels.
One for the Angels. Now this is funny backstory on this one for Doc and I. Doc was not a big fan of this one at first.
Okay.
Yeah, at first.
Okay.
At first you weren't. And maybe it's Doc's old age got him, and maybe it was a little bit mortal. But we have Lou Bookman, the salesman, the pitch man of the ages, One for the Angels. He goes in and obviously it's time for him to go. Fate grabs him, not fate, death. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, I'm jumping ahead. Mr. Death, I call him. Mr. Death gets him, the Grim Reaper, and
Murray Hamilton.
Yeah, he talks him into a deal to give him one pitch for the ages. Tries to finagle his way out of it. And lo and behold, one of the young children that he cares so much about and that love him gets hit by a car. They're going to take her instead. And our friend, Mr. Bookman, does not like that much. He doesn't like it at all. So now he's got to try to figure out a way to go back to his original deal. Simple, really, right? Once again, I'll say the word simple, but that was the beauty of everything Rod Serling did, to put in 25 minutes and tell such a story. That one was, I really, really liked that one. He's just, what's his name there? Oh, God, I can't remember his name. Tell me his name. Doc.
Murray Hamilton.
Yeah.
Edwin
was fantastic.
It was an episode that I think you appreciate more as you get older, obviously. When I watched this back in the day in the Twilight Zone marathons as a kid, I kind of wrote it off like, this one. But I think you really appreciate your lot in life as you get older. And you appreciate more than yourself.
Yeah. No, it's a good call with that. And it is funny that Bookman, Edwin, if you watch, anybody go back and watch, and we put a little clip of it when he does the Mad Hatter, and they used to actually act the scenes out while they drew them. I didn't know that. Really interesting to watch, and watching him just grab the script and act like the Mad Hatter. Like, I thought that was just animation stuff. Like, no guy acts like that. No, he did.
Yeah.
What physical comedy and just an unbelievable vaudeville, right? Vaudeville actor.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And in Father of Keenan Wynn, who we know from a future episode. So father and son duo. And you're right, Wolfgang. It is whimsical. And yeah, the pitchman did a great job of rising to the occasion. He sold the hell out of the scarves and everything else that Mr. Death purchased, and he did his job. He did his job to perfection. And you can't. What I liked about it was that he wasn't a sleazy salesman. He was very, very likable. And we talked about it in the episode previously. Rod Serling originally wrote this to have a stereotypical salesman, but once Ed Wynn was cast, he said, "Okay, I've got to do some rewrites. Ed Wynn is not the stereotypical like Glengarry Glen Ross type of salesman," and he rewrote it, tailored it to Ed Wynn's high pitched, just pattering of voice, and I think it was an excellent. Yes, John, you're exactly right. That's what I was saying. Yeah. Every time you watch it, this is one of those episodes that gets you right here.
And I will say this over and over again, I'm sure, but I think you all appreciate that I will say this over and over again. Is there a show around nowadays that this long they're going to watch? Do you think they're going to be watching even the ones we thought were good? I'm sure fans of this are probably fans of Lost, right? Besides the ending, things like that. No one's going to be watching that in 40 years.
No, that's why we're talking about it. It's, we talk about all the good ones to Columbo.
Here we go.
Hitchcock.
And just so everybody knows, I have a bunch of clips, but I had to go to a different computer because my microphone wasn't working on that one. Just so everybody knows, and I had built in those clips to just drop in Columbo every time we mentioned them. So next time we will do that. I promise you. Just really makeshift after like 20 minutes before. So that's why I'm a little off right now. But yeah, so One for the Angels that is one that I think if you grabbed one in a time capsule to watch like every 10 years of your life and write something about it or talk about it, I think it would be different. I think when we watch that in like 20 years, if we're God willing, still around, it would be, we really, really think differently, maybe cry. I mean,
Tales from the Crypt. There's one, Joe. Yeah, that's another one. It's an the anthologies, and it really hold up. And yeah, Wolfgang is accurate too. There are very few shows or movies.
How do I block people? Because I'm going to block this Tully Mars right off the rip. I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement altogether. I mean,
well, yeah, he's on Twitter, on Reddit. I see that guy. But thank you, Tully. But yeah, each time you watch it, and I feel like we speak about that all the time during our episode breakdowns. It's the whole thing where you never walk in the same river twice. You watch it one day, you might not like it. Watch another day, you might love it. With that, where do you have Mr. Bookman now?
Yes, and I hope somebody join in with this. I want somebody to be like thinking about this like already and writing it in what they think they'll do.
Yes, yeah, please.
So, but okay, so I put Lou Bookman is actually reincarnated as Billy Mays. Because he didn't enjoy the fact that everyone in heaven had everything. So he had to go back because they already had everything. He couldn't sell. There was no need for him there. So that he reincarnated.
You know what? I like that.
Maybe the Billy Mays thing is a reach, but
what do you got?
What do you got, Doc?
What do I have? I have that Lou Bookman is just up in heaven. He kind of is the front man for God. And if anybody wants to try to pitch anything to God, Lou Bookman's at his right hand, being like, "No, we don't want that," or we don't.
Oh, he's the pitch connoisseur.
He's like the consigliere to God.
In case they're like, "Hey, God, we should do this," and Bookman's like, "Yeah, I don't know about that."
And what about little Maggie? You have her doing anything?
I don't have little Maggie. I noticed I did see your sheet. I did see your sheet.
Yeah. Maggie became a doctor. The little girl who got struck by a car, and she is now fixing broken bones wherever she
Ah,
resides.
that was simple.
It
Doc.
was simple.
Doc making her a doctor.
What about in who did you have if we're recasting this? And please, folks, and let me know who. Let us know who you would like to be in the roles. And again, we're just doing this to have some fun. We love the actual episode. We love the casting. We're just having some fun with this. Buck just put this up. We have actually Ed Harris and Paul Giamatti as Lou Bookman, and as Death, I like Bucks here as John Hamm, and I had Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, I think those are good. I think they work.
Yeah, I think that Paul Giamatti could really play a.
Uh-oh. Looks like Doc got froze up and thrown off here. Hopefully he comes back soon. But now you got me. I guess Paul Giamatti might be on and threw him out there. So now you have me. So anybody out there, let me know right now before we get Doc back here. Let's yeah, what's up, Garrett? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Doc just got thrown off here. Hopefully he comes back soon. Let's see if he's already back. No, he's not yet. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so Giamatti in that one for Doc there, one for the Angels. Does anybody out there have anything that you think would be good? What do you think? An alternative ending? Any actors? Let us know. I know you guys know more than definitely I do. Definitely more than Doc. He can even make his way on. Oh, here he is. He's back. All right, let's get him back on here. Hey, what's up, Doc?
Like Paul Giamatti. You kicked me off.
I know. He's not a fan. I mean, we're both Connecticut guys, actually, originally. You know how we.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I do like your John Hamm. He has played that kind of that role to perfection over a few years.
He really has that straight edge, like just kind of everything. Garrett joined us, by the way. Garrett,
hey Garrett, and yeah, if anybody's just jumping in, we're talking about the first 5 Twilight Zone episodes, and we're doing some recasting if it was filmed today, and we're also seeing where are the main characters now. What are they doing? What do you think they're doing? Let us know in the chat. We're having some just having some fun with this. Neither Buck or I claim to know every single thing about the Twilight Zone. We're just a couple of guys who really love the show.
Yeah, and we're gonna do these every 5 shows. And like I said, we're gonna do a little bit more. We're actually gonna, I think, and I'll let the cat out of the bag a little bit, Doc, here, but I think we're gonna go open those Twilight Zone cards and talk about them at some point.
Yeah, that's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So we're gonna do these, and any suggestions on maybe what we should do and anything like that, that's more than welcome. We're not those people, trust me.
Oh. Yeah, Edwin was perfect, and we're not saying Edwin was not perfect, April. Thank
you.
No,
we're saying if it was nowadays.
Yeah, if it was just filmed today, we're just having fun and saying if Rod Serling wrote it in 2025, who would you want to be in it? But yeah, no, all these actors, like we were talking about earlier, played all the roles to perfection.
Well, didn't they change it around for Edwin? And they actually they didn't think he was gonna be like the guy to play this part. But I feel like Edwin could play any.
Well, and he's in one of 2 episodes, and I like. All right, Garrett's getting in on the conversation. I think Chris Evans. I think you're right. He's another one that could be a chameleon, and could be like he could be in 4 or 5.
He's on my back. I've been waiting on him. There.
Yeah. Yep. He's in a couple season 1 episodes. Yes. And I love Wolfgang. Wolfgang is a hoot on Twitter too. So yeah.
But give him a follow, everybody. I guess if they're not Wolfgang, shout out to you.
Yes. All right. So we talked about where is everybody? One for the Angels. And Yahoo, this is one of your favorites, Mr. Denton on Doomsday.
Yeah, this one's cool, man. I mean, Mr. Denton on Doomsday. You got this, all I can think of is what's the song? Oh my God.
How Dry I Am.
Yeah, how dry I am. How dry. We basically have the same pitch, him and I as well. But talk about a coming around. I mean, listen, you didn't get to see the whole rehab montage of him. It was like a day he was sober, but we get the angle of it. But you have the cowboy there that, starts off with what he used to be, representing a lot of things out there, and he really embodied it, and you felt for the guy. I mean, and how they shot it, how the direction of it, how they treated him, and everything like that was just, you felt for him.
Oh my God.
Dan
Dorea played this role I'm sad we only saw him in one Twilight Zone episode, because I think it was like the best redemption episode, one of the best redemption episodes that we've seen.
Yeah, and it was almost an after-school special. I mean, at the end, obviously, because of course the drunken man, he goes, and he was the biggest gunfighter out there in the whole West, and well, not the whole West, but at least that town.
Right.
And he was the cool guy. He was the prom king or whatever, right? And then he fell on hard times because things happened, and they subtly put it in there, which I like, the fact that he shot a child, basically, like a younger person.
Yeah.
He killed somebody, and he was like, I'm done. And he went to the bottle, never came back. And then he gets a chance to be back to what he was. And then you have even the kind of the small thing about how he was drinking himself to death, and this was going to be a quicker way. And it was going to be his way out at one point.
And how embarrassing, and how just he just how he had to do the singing for a drink and drinking out of that.
Beautiful. And when he looks over at Liz, the barkeep, and she tells him not to do it. That was a big thing there when you think about it. When she tells him not to, you don't have to, I'll buy you the drink. But he weirdly had too much pride to take the drink from her.
He did.
But yet sing this song. He was torturing himself. It was really dynamic. And of course he goes and he meets Mr. Fate there, the snake oil salesman, I guess the potion salesman. And he finds that gun, that great graphics where it just goes boom, and it just appears. Fantastic. That's all right. Sold me on it. And all of a sudden he's shooting. I didn't even want to do it. Boom, shoots again, and then he gets challenged, which he knew was coming.
By Martin Landau.
Yeah. Oh no, he gets challenged then by Martin Landau.
Right.
And he does all that. And he gets challenged by the big man's coming.
Oh, right. The one
And sure enough, they get in the gunfight. They both have the potion, and they realize that they're gonna have a better life without being these guys, and they're just gonna be better at it.
Well, Melissa, thank you. Buck, I didn't think your girlfriend's name was Melissa, but so thank you.
Apparently, yes. No,
kidding.
Thank you, my aunt. Yeah.
Melissa, thank you. And yeah, it just what a sweet episode, for the lack of a better word. And I think that, like I said earlier, one of the best redemption episodes, I think, in the series. And the cast between Dan Dorea, Malcolm Atterbury, who played Fate, was a few lines, but he was so cool. And also, of course, Martin Landau,
who looks just like Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes. We did a side by side in our episode when we really broke down this episode, and Joaquin Phoenix and Martin Landau, and I put it out on Twitter, and I'll put it out again. It's eerie.
It really is. And thank you, Melissa, again. And actually, I know Melissa is in the industry. I do know that she is actually in the industry. She is. So thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's awesome. So okay, so what do we think here? I mean, let's talk about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's our first Western in the Twilight Zone,
and one of the better ones.
Yeah. I mean, but it's an introduction to it, because wasn't it, like I said, and maybe I just said it, maybe I made it up in my head that they said it. I think it was part of a pitch thing, being like, didn't they say it wasn't going to be supernatural?
You know what? You paid attention to me before, so I'm very happy, Buck. You didn't sleep when I go over my fun facts.
It doesn't happen much.
Serling did pitch it as a straight Western because he didn't think the supernatural angle would sell. And that's, again, genius. Kids these days use the word genius a lot, but yeah, this guy right here, that's genius.
Yeah.
6 Emmy Awards for writing.
I don't think anybody could deny that. I mean, how many things are made from the. He's like, and I'll say this right now. This is gonna maybe, I don't know. This might be blasphemy because they say like Shakespeare wrote every story there could be written about like things. Like basically like rich, poor, this, that, every dynamic you could have. They always say Shakespeare wrote them, right? And everybody has taken from that. Rod Serling did that. Of the nowadays, every angle, especially sci-fi, but even beyond that, let's get rid of the fate thing about it.
And we talk about it in each episode that Buck and I do, where we go into influences under each episode. So the show, it's 2025. There's been so many movies, television shows, books that have been inspired by each and every episode. So, but we digress. But we're talking about Mr. Denton on Doomsday.
Yeah, and how many shows back then? And I could be totally wrong because they always had like a drunk character, but it was a little over the top or things like that. We saw that,
sure,
but like the real deep feeling of this guy. And the why and the
because the drunks were like Otis on Andy Griffith's show that were almost stereotypical or parodies. You didn't. Oh my God, this guy actually has a problem. Like you bang, you hit it right there. You have some empathy for this character. You want to see him succeed.
Yes. No, I agree. And so I guess let's get into who we had as actors for everybody out there. And
absolutely.
Would play these actors. So let me do this again here. I screwed
sure.
All right. So it looks like Al Denton. I had Matt Damon as the actor for Al Denton. I thought he would do a good job at it.
Yeah.
He's pretty versatile and you feel for him a lot. But who'd you have over there? Who's that?
I have character actor Michael Roker.
Oh, Roker, that's it.
I went a little older than you. Just I thought that Denton could play it a little bit. Was a little bit older than Matt Damon. Just that Roker just can play that really just unshaven. We've seen him 100 times in roles like that. But he could also clean it up and play it straight.
Yeah.
And for Fate. And this is Fate. I had Chris Cooper, who we talk about character actors all the time. I think Chris Cooper is one of those guys that we could utility player. We could stick him into a bunch of episodes.
Yeah, and I had of course I had Craig T. Nelson.
I love that. and then we had Jesse Plemons. I had playing Dan to your Joaquin Phoenix, who there's no similarity with how Jesse Plemons looks like Martin Landau, but I thought that he could play that really snarky role well, which we have seen him in.
I am like Hollywood nowadays. I go towards the looks of the person. If you notice, Matt Damon kind of looks like
him. Yeah,
not him. Kind of look. Yeah. They get me right there. And
yeah.
I'm gonna try to mix that up a little bit for everybody.
No, it's good. I actually had an actor like born after me, so I'm learning, Buck. Not all great actors or old actor and actresses are old, so I'm learning.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to learn. I mean, it is.
Well, speaking of older actress, 60 millimeter Shran, you ready to talk about?
Oh no, whoa, Doc, we didn't do our ending.
We didn't. You're right. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah. Yes. This is what I deal with all the time. Trust me. I have to do a lot of edits.
Yes, that's what you do.
All right. So endings for everybody out there. What happens? He's got his hand shot. The outlaw's got his hand shot. He's got his hand shot. What happens afterwards? Doc, why don't you start this one off?
Sure, yeah. Al Denton remained sober. He was eventually elected sheriff of the town that he resides in. A few months later, he proposed to Liz. They got married, and Liz is not working. Liz now owns her own burlesque bar in the same town, while Al just got elected mayor.
All right. All right. I'm going to go a little bit different here. All right. So this is what I have, Doc. I like that. I like that. You like the nice little.
I do.
Okay, you do. I'm going to go. Al becomes a preacher. Okay. And he travels with Liz. They eventually get married. They start a family. But the family's then slaughtered by outlaws. Okay, listen. And this is kind of like it's been done a million times. So he goes back, he's got to go back after him. So he finds the old gunslinger that he shot in the hand and Mr. Fate to avenge the deaths of his family.
Dang. All right.
Yes. And I'm going to call it the Grateful Fateful.
All right. I love that.
12 people just dropped right out of the chat. They're just like, I'm out. That's what I'm going with. Anybody else? Come on.
Yeah. Or anybody who you think could play the role in this day and age.
Yeah. All right. Now we can go.
now we can go to
Fateful, baby.
16mm Shrine, which stars Ida Lupino, who we could talk a little bit about the acting performance in a minute, but what did you think about this? Why don't you give everybody a little bit of a breakdown, Buck?
Well, it's basically an aging actress who's stuck in the past, watching all her old movies on repeat and just this over and over and over again. And she's just stuck there. She thinks she's still young. She's not. She gets offered a role, a decent role, not a big role like she used to have. Her agent brings her in, gets her a gig. Who her agent is very close with her, Danny, and she doesn't like it because she's going to play a mother. How dare they? So she turns it down.
At 40 years old.
At 40 years old, she's way over the hill, and she turns it down, and she ends up going home and seeing basically that she wants to be back then. She wants to relive her life back then. So she's going to make everything around her 20 years before that. She's going to invite all her friends over. They're going to have parties. They're going to be, and they just ham it up. And she then invites, well, she doesn't invite. She hears that her old co-star, Jerry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jerry's coming into town, and this person she's been staring at, the handsome man at 25 years old or whatever he was, 30 probably. And he does come over. Danny brings him over, and he's an old man. And Danny did this on purpose to show her how people have aged. She doesn't take it well, throws them both out and everything like that. Wishes she could be back where she was in the movies. And sure enough, her wish comes true, and she ends up back stuck. I don't know if I should say stuck.
And the handkerchief.
Yes.
It's Danny's handkerchief.
Gary, you're jumping the gun here.
But I like it.
I like it a lot. Once again, Gary, that's that's a Doc move right there. That's actually me. I'm actually more mainstream than you. Yeah. Meryl Streep, we could put her in anything, But it would make sense. It would make sense. Well, so that's what it was. And this one wasn't my favorite.
No, and the acting performances were excellent by Ida Lupino and Martin Balsam as Danny. It just didn't click for me, and I think even Rod Serling said that he was quoted as saying, I don't know what the hell I was thinking about when I wrote this episode. When I wrote this episode, I just wish I never did. It it's a well put together episode. It just did not click. Again, Martin Balsam and Ida Lupino were freaking amazing, but it just didn't work for me. Yeah, you're right, Wolfgang. It's not the obvious demise, and that's we'll talk about exactly. Of course, he's talking about a stop at Willoughby.
Yeah. That I didn't, like I said during our show, to me, it was a story that could be told really simple. I think we knew all where it was going.
Yeah.
And it was really in your face. Not that a lot of them aren't. They're just a little bit intricacies. Nobody's M. Night Shyamalan's not coming out and being like, oh, wow, that was going to happen. But
right.
It just did see.
Sorry, Gary.
Yeah, it just did seem like it was more. I don't know. It was very just, you just knew it. It could have been told in 5 minutes.
It could have, but
short.
You know what it was I really liked about this particular episode was when Danny went into when Barbara Jean got offered the role and turned it down, and the agent Danny pretty much told the studio exec off, saying, I hope you need something someday because you're never going to get it. Like, I hope you need a swift kick in the teeth. He stood up so much for Barbara that it was very touching. And we talked about it before. Like, the love between those characters, although not man and wife love, the love was so there.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sean Connery. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I should start talking like this. Yeah, and it was Danny did show. I mean, the characters were great. She did a great job, and I mean, it's hard not to. We should do a show about her, especially for women. I mean, what a trailblazer!
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know that much about her. I knew she was something, but I didn't know she was something, if you know what I mean.
She was a badass. Ida Lupino was a badass, and she was, of course, is the only female to direct a Twilight Zone episode, which is one of the best episodes in the mask. We're not going to get till season 5, so we still got a little ways to go to get that.
Well, and you think about that real quick. When you say that Rod Serling was like, I want to write it, this and that. Usually a director or a writer or anybody involved as producer, obviously Rod Serling. So he would, kind of push those people away. You know what I mean? Not because you don't like them, just
because you're a threat.
It represents a time too that, the differences of, you're just like, listen, I love you, but you represent this bad thing of mine. And the fact that, and she was a woman, I mean, that's just what it was.
Yeah. In 1959.
He must have known how great she was. He really did. It was swing and miss. Yeah, then in the trouble.
Yeah, Templeton. Actually, man, sometimes our brains mind meld. I just watched Templeton about 2 weeks ago, Wolfgang, and you're exactly right. That's an astute point.
Yeah, good point. Wolfgang's on it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he certainly is. Anything else to talk about 16 millimeter before we get on to
what happens at the end of it, Doc?
Yeah.
Well, you really just want to skip this part, don't you?
Well, no. Before that's what I meant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Of course you did. All right. You want me to start this one off with it? I think. I don't know.
I can. I'm going to start with Danny, and I have Danny as being the first super agent after his experience with Barbara Jean. He started his own. Oh, so we're going to talk about the casting call.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the casting call. 60 millimeter Shrine. I have Richard Dreyfuss as Jerry. I think that he could play a very good. That's the actor that came in when he was 50 something years old, owned a chain of supermarkets. I think Dreyfuss could really play that role. I had John Voight as Danny, and Jessica Lange, who we've seen a few times, almost a similar role. I don't exactly know how old she is, but she always looks glamorous, and I think she could play that lost star of the past very well. And Buck, I know you went overboard with your selection.
Yeah. We can tell everybody that when I said that line, Doc didn't actually get it. When I said it, I said I was going overboard. I did go with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. I actually think they'd be fun in that part.
It would be funny.
Yeah, and they'd be fun in it. Obviously, I don't think Goldie Hawn is quite the caliber of actress as it was in there, and I don't think she's bad. I think she does a great job at what she does. And Kurt Russell, I think, would be really cool as Jerry. That was Jerry, though. I had him as the agent.
Yeah. No, I think he could be whatever. I'm managing supermarkets now. I don't care.
Yeah, and I had Ricky Gervais as
Danny.
Yeah, as Danny. Yeah, which would be like, I could just see him like, I'm gonna kick you in the teeth. You know that? Like, I don't know, that was terrible, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's little comedy.
Yeah, and he's just and because he would really be like, what's come on, like what?
And that's what I was thinking. Dreyfuss could kind of do some comedic tones to his Jerry as well.
Yeah, he's got that little thing going on. Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, it wasn't one of my favorites, I have to admit, right off the rip, and really soon in there. But once again, you can always just depend on the actors. Yes. A bad Twilight Zone is better than a good show nowadays. I'm sorry, I just said it out loud.
Yeah, which I don't know. I've just found out there was a new Equalizer. We were talking about that the other day. Buck reminded me of that.
New.
The season, I think it's in the third season or something. But yeah, it's not an act. I do just watch all older shows.
Yeah. He does.
It's fine. Buck's keeping me in line. What do you have? What do you have these guys doing after the camera?
All right. Well, so put the kids to bed.
Oh boy.
No, it's not that bad.
Here we go.
So, well, I have that Danny, the agent, realizes that the projector is actually magical, right? So he brings his clients in that want to be in movies, right? So they can be on the big screen. He finds out a way that they can go in and out of it. So he's kind of selling the business of how it feels to be in a movie. But Danny starts taking advantage of it a little bit, starts partying a little bit too much in the old movies and all the parties and everything like that. Gets a little bit of a problem. He starts watching a little bit of adult movies, a little bit too much, and then he gets stuck in an adult movie. And then what's her name shows up to have to take him out of there.
I went with the little bit more family friendly route, believe it or not.
Okay.
I have Danny becoming the first, what's known as a super agent, and he represented many. He specialized in women clients. His first clients were Anne Margaret, Meryl Streep, and the Danny Weiss talent agency has become one of the foremost talent agencies in all of Hollywood. And Barbara Jean is just living her best life in the Twilight Zone. She has happy hour every day when she's 25 years old with Jerry and the whole gang in their costumes, and she's just doing her thing. And that's another thing. Is she dead? Is she? And we're just to veer back to this. She's just in the Twilight Zone. Is she dead?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We'll get to you in a second, Wolfgang. That's a really good question because that is true. Like, and how Danny leads it. Is he happy? Is he sad?
Well, Danny's sad because he says no. Danny says no at the end.
I know, but like, because he's mad like right away, but like a day later, is Danny like kind of like, you gotta reflect and be like, she's where she wants to be.
Right.
Is it that? Which I did think the ending was kind of cool when it came to that, because I don't think it was just in your face. Like it was a no, but it was a sad no, not a no, which would be different.
Right.
Like oh my, I know why, it was more of it was a selfish no, right? It was a selfish no.
Yes.
And as soon as he regroups and thinks about it, I think he would be like, you know what? She's happy now. And maybe he goes and watches the reruns, of that and sees her.
Yeah. And then he takes us to his talent agency.
There you go. And starts the Weist and whatever. I think mine's better. It's so funny. You have all redemption stories and everybody's all happy at the end. I have people like strung out and stuck on like whatever, like it's good yin and yang here. It's
good. I get that's exactly right. Oh, walking distance.
Let's just show Wolfgang threw one up there. That's and other shows I enjoy reruns of, but somehow always against the backdrop of their day. Yep, it's timeless.
That's
we're gonna get into those reboots, Wolfgang, and they're a shame, and they got to figure something out. Like they do it in the tone of, I don't know. That's a whole different show.
That's a whole. We could do the whole show on the
Wolfgang on for that show. I think,
which is actually a good idea. Yeah, have a whole show about the reboots. Quickly, the '80s was the best reboot in my opinion. There was a couple.
Not saying much though.
A couple good ones there. Yeah. Not saying much whatsoever.
Yeah.
The Forrest Whitaker one, there or the who was that? The early aughts. There was maybe one or two good episodes.
Yeah. And you really wanted to like them. That was always the thing. You really wanted to like them.
You did. I got so excited.
Really.
The new one, we'll just move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll do those. We'll break those down one day. And real quick before we get on to the next one, Melissa, great storytelling. Yes. Lost art in Hollywood these days. So it's far above most projects today. Too much CGI, no longer many juries of humanity's hearts and souls. Couldn't put it any better myself, Melissa. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. And quick, talk about CGI. We're going to circle back to One for the Angels really quickly because there's a cool story, non-CGI story. Ed Wynn was elderly at the time of filming. And they had to do night scenes. So what the crew did and what all of the crew did was they built sets and scaffolding to make it appear at night, even though they filmed it in the middle of the day, just with ladders and scaffolding and just painting, just no CGI, to Melissa's point.
And when you watch that episode, you can kind of tell. It's like a weird set. That's that weird set that they use sometimes.
Yeah. MGM, that's a lot of the MGM backlot kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really dark in the background, super dark, and everything's lit up in front of you. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. But you just worked around it. That's what you did back then. It's hit it with the money hose or hit it with the creative hose. I think Robert Rodriguez might have said that actually, which is odd because now he's kind of a nowadays guy.
Sure,
but he was right, because nowadays just hit it with the money hose. Instead of it, they used to tell you as an actor or a writer, it's like, you want to make a movie, don't worry about what you're going to write, worry about what you have. So if your uncle owns a liquor store and your sister works at a dog kennel, and you got a couple buddies that really can play rednecks, you make a movie about some rednecks that break into a
dog kennel.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's
what you know.
Yeah, what you have.
Right, what you have. Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh well, I'll just go get that. So. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to it now. Walking distance. Obviously, the highlight of the 5, I would say. I know you agree with this.
Yes, it is, and this is an episode about Martin Sloan. He is some type of a high pressure executive in New York. Just had to get away. Drives somewhere and his car breaks down. Finds out that his hometown is actually walking distance from where he broke down.
Mhm.
He walks to see some things look exactly the same. He moved maybe 20 years ago. Goes into an ice cream shop, gets, what was it, Buck? 3 scoops for like a nickel?
Dime.
A dime, and realizes, okay. But just sees so many things and realizes that, wait a second, he's in the past. Everything looks so familiar. He actually runs into his father, which we're going to get into, and has a conversation with he and his mother. Hey, I'm Martin. I'm Martin. And no, who the heck are you? You're not Martin. Martin is 5 years old. He's out on the carousel. He's playing games. As it turns out, he gets there, and then what happens? He's on the carousel. He actually sees himself as a 5 or 7 year old, and tries to warn him of everything that happens in the future. He falls off. He falls off the carousel, hurts his leg. Actually, then runs into his father. His father realizes that this 30-year-old man, is actually his son in the future. And he tells the son, you can't live in the past anymore. You've pretty much you have to go with where you're going. You stop. There's might be carousels where you live, but go to where you live.
Mm.
The episode ends kind of on a very melancholy, and Gig Young, who plays Martin Sloan, goes back and with a noticeable limp, as now, because he actually did get hurt falling off the carousel. This is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best acting performances by Gig Young, and one of the best episodes in the whole show.
Yeah, it's we didn't touch on it that much because it's like Gig Young's one of those people that you're just like, because of what he did. And I mean, obviously, and I'll get into a Gig Young story that I forgot, that I tell all the time.
They shoot horses, don't they?
Yeah, that too. But no, the story in general, I'll get back to Gig Young in a second. I mean, fantastic acting by everybody in there. And the story is so, I mean, if somebody doesn't watch this and have something for this, and this is one that you ended where I don't think you knew where it was going.
No.
And I think it was the only way it could go, really, to be what it is how it went. And just the trying to go back home, your life sucks at 36, and it doesn't even really suck that bad, but you're not, I believe he's 11, Tom. Doc, not.
I don't know children.
I know. It's because you were a tall kid. Doc and I are both about 6'3", so we're probably tall 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds. So that's probably things. So I would say that it was. I mean, obviously, out of this 5, definitely, and you think about a lot of them, this one is really close to home.
Yes, another one. The older you get, the more you appreciate it.
Yeah, the other ones pretty much are just like, okay, I know somebody like that, right? You know a drunk if you're not
right.
the drunk. You know somebody who's stuck in, like trying to relive their past experiences. Because 60 millimeter kind of did that, but different, like Fame.
It did, and it's not it. Yeah, with 60 millimeter, we know people getting plastic surgery, what tummy tucks, things of that nature, to remain perfect.
Yeah, this is actually a good point too. He actually had a bad impact. So
yeah, right. As that permanent reminder. That's a good, awesome,
Wolfgang. Good call, Wolfgang. Yeah, it's your child. They got a bad impact as younger self with a permanent. Yeah, as a constant reminder. And that was, that you're absolutely right. That is Rod Serling's way of showing, like, that's why the dad did what he did. Like, you're gonna hurt him more than, and yourself, probably.
Well, in that scene, and we talked about it in our show that coincidentally just got released this morning. But the scene between Martin and his dad, when the father is telling an older Martin that you have to move on is a hell of a scene. And that's the lighting in that, the score of Walking Distance. Let's talk about the score for a minute. That is done so perfectly by Bernard Herrmann, also who did the score for Psycho and many Hitchcock episodes. But the score for this episode was perfect. This was one of Serling's most, I guess, personal ones, where the park itself, and we talked about it before, is actually modeled on a recreation park in Binghamton, New York, which actually has carousels. I have visited there. There is a plaque, pretty awesome. It says Rod Serling's Walking Distance. In the recreation park now, there is a statue of Rod Serling that just got dedicated a few months ago.
Yeah, and I would have had all those pictures here, but I didn't. I regret that. Sure.
It's okay. This is our first live one, and we had a couple of
my computer's not. Yeah, it's not going to be good if my computer's not working. My microphone doesn't work. That's all I have is my microphone. But yeah, and I said it during the show, and I didn't articulate it well when I went through it. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm about to talk about that. If you take away, you wouldn't even need the dialogue, right? You could watch it, just listen, and you'd kind of know the mood, right? If you took away the music is so subtly subconscious.
Yes.
You don't realize what it's doing. I think, what was it, like No Country for Old Men, I believe, was the first one that didn't use any music in the background, which is actually pretty impressive.
Huh.
Because music is it sets this tone in your brain. Like when he walks into the drugstore with the violins playing and everything like that. If that's upbeat, your whole attitude changes while you're walking.
Yes.
But I didn't realize there was music there when I was watching it.
No.
I wasn't thinking about the music, but I was thinking about the music.
Where is this going? Right.
Yeah. So I mean, he did know how to do eerie and
the carousel scene where he flies off. There, it's the strings. It's eerie, and obviously, if we could do a whole episode on Herrmann himself, talk Psycho and all the Hitchcock movies that
we should do that one time. But I would be really interested. Oh, The Birds was no music. Okay, all right. I didn't know that.
I guess that's straight. But
when birds are singing, that's music. Okay, Wolfgang. But I'm not going to argue music with somebody named Wolfgang. First of all,
that's smart. That's smart. Well, what you also called? What did you call Bernard Herrmann in our show earlier?
Berman. That's what.
Yeah. That's what his boys call him. That's what his buddies call him.
Yeah, his friends call him Berman. Yeah, I mean, listen, one day.
I mean, this episode is as good as it gets. For me, and I think for a lot of folks, it's in the top tier. What does everybody else think about this episode of Walking Distance? Please let us know.
Yeah. I mean, that's one was incredible, and there's so much to talk about with this. I mean, this one is. I mean, who hasn't felt this way? I'm not going to go into too much. Everybody knows already. Who hasn't felt this way of anything? And I kind of hit on it a little bit on our show. And it is true. There's times in our lives that things were just easier, and they were. It's just what it is. It's being a child is so.
No, not exactly. But that's true. I mean, who doesn't want to go back? I was just having a conversation the other day with someone that how nice it was before cell phones, and you and I were just talking on the phone when people would write letters to each other.
Yeah. I mean,
just a simpler time.
I forget. I was in New York City, and there was times I was going to like calls and everything like that, and I didn't have a cell phone. Like people had their papers, and this wasn't like I'm not that old. I mean, I'm pretty old, but I'm not that old to be like. I guess I was a long time ago when you think about it, but everybody, like, you talked, you asked people things, you were in your own head, no headphones in and everything like that.
Yes.
You thought, you know. Oh, now I'm just gonna get corrected by everybody. Now it's gonna hammer me. Yeah, all right.
Nice, Michael.
Thanks a lot, Michael. No, I mean, I get it. I mean, but all right, in a long time, then, guys. Okay, in a long time, they're gonna find one from next.
Yeah, never say first. Never say it's the only. Because
did I say it was first? Yeah,
yeah,
was it the first one to ever win an Academy Award? Oh, I'm gonna change the parameter.
yeah, don't.
With a man of Mexican descent starring role. I think it's Spanish, actually.
But yeah, in Gig Young, and how about little Ronnie Howard? How great was he?
Oh yes, yeah. Oh well, isn't that funny? Yeah, yeah. And we both put him on there. We'll talk about that in a second. But Gig Young, yes. I always tell everybody this story, and I didn't know it was him. I tell everybody the Gene Wilder story of he helped write Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
So he helped write Blazing Saddles. Him and then story Richard Pryor, Mel Brooks, Gene Wilder, all hanging out in the village, writing this, eating Chinese food, they'd say, or whatever. And the story is, I believe, that Richard Pryor wrote the white character, and Mel Brooks wrote the black sheriff, right, and something like that. And Gene Wilder was along, and they were talking, and Gene Wilder wanted to play the role, the gunslinger there. What's his name?
I forget.
And I'll get to 1 second, Wolfman. I'll get to that in a second. So Gene Hackman, Gene Wilder, they were like, he's too young. He can't play the aging thing. So they had Gig Young.
Yep.
I didn't know it was ever Gig Young. I always said an older actor came and he was shaking. He had the shakes.
The TTs.
Yeah. And so he couldn't play the part. I always tell that story, and I didn't realize
it was Gig Young. Yeah. He was, I think,
same guy in
2 days, maybe, or 1 day or 2 days, something.
One day, and they sent him home. They called Gene Wilder, and Gene Wilder said, I will do the part, but you have to do my movie. And it was Young Frankenstein.
Yes.
I mean,
so Gig Young, Martin Sloan.
Gig, I knew walking distance, never knew it was him. Told the story a million times because I thought it was a very interesting story. But yeah.
Well, yeah, and such a tragic story. And yeah, Wolfman.
We should get into that one time. I know people like that kind of story, those stories. It's basically like a true crime thing. And honestly, I mean, I don't know the whole thing, so I won't say like what a shame and blah blah blah. I mean, he did a terrible thing.
Yeah, I mean, he recently married, and yeah, just this is after winning the Academy Award too. This goes to show you that material things aren't everything.
No, happens way too much. Does at some point in time, every older person reflects back on fun times in the past and how much simpler they were. Yes.
Yep.
And it really just it's as simple as that. It really is. And like I say before, like when people say friends, not even girlfriends or boyfriends, friends you had when you were younger, you're like, oh, that guy was awesome. That guy was great. But were they? Or was the time you were having great?
Yes, right. That guy who you were watching the ball game with and having a dozen beers with, was he really a good guy?
Yeah, or was he not as good as you thought he was? He might be. You meet him now and you're just like, oh, I don't really have that much in common.
Yeah, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah, or he's a jerk. Or
yeah. I mean, I have the same feelings about you, Buck. So you never know.
That I'm a jerk. I get it. Handwritten letters are somewhat lost art. I'd write to my grandmother when she's still with us because she loved them. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we just actually weirdly had this conversation of, I was just like, I remember somebody writing me letters and I was like, it was so much different when somebody wrote you a letter.
It is a lost art form, and just getting back to things of the past and in pre-cell phones, pre-computers, and yeah, we romanticize it like Martin Sloan romanticized his youth.
Well, and we've even gone, like, the younger kids might be able to even remember this. Like, remember like in holidays when your phone would ring, right? Your phone would ring. Hey man, happy Thanksgiving. Just want to tell you and your family happy Thanksgiving. And that was something because you're not going to be there, not write a letter. Now it's just mass text.
Yep. Well, you
Yeah,
don't even get Christmas cards anymore. A lot of people just send that email.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
which whatever. It's I'm a Christmas card guy. I write them. I wrote them to Mr. and Mrs. Buck a few times, but
Yeah. Yes, you did.
but yeah, this is upper echelon. Gig Young was pretty much perfect in this, and I'd like to talk about one, and we're going all over the place, but so we talk about symbolism a lot. Mirrors, mirrors in the first one, mirrors in this episode too, and when as soon as Gig Young as soon as Martin looked into that mirror at the gas station, uh, something in him kind of clicked, and we saw the transformation in him.
Well, we talk about the mirrors. You talk about it all the time. And speaking of mirrors, we have a question. If you went into the past and saw yourself, would you approach? And if so, what would you say to yourself?
That is, I love it, Wolfman. Um, if you asked me this 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have said yes, I would. You asked me today, no. I would observe myself from afar. I think I've watched too many, you read too much, and you don't want to mess with fate.
I have a little bit of the same answer, and I know nobody wants that. I probably could get both answers, but I wouldn't, and this sounds really corny, because I feel like I'm pretty happy with my life.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? And I think you're right on it with it. Like you told me that a little while, like before, when I probably wasn't so happy with my life, I'd be
Yep.
like, listen. And as much as I'd look and just smile and be like, you're gonna go through some shit. Like you're gonna.
And
Like,
that's
stuff's
being
gonna
an adult.
happen. But if I had to if I had to tell myself something,
Maybe some lottery numbers. Yeah.
well, yeah, that would be the easiest thing. I give the pick six of the Breeders' Cup. I think I would just say, um, don't ever do a show with Doc Wagner, and that would be it.
What about
No,
you? What about you, Wolfman?
I would actually tell myself to stay the course. And
Yes. Yeah. You know what? It's going to get better because
I would say don't procrastinate so much. I would probably tell myself that. Like
I like that.
maybe I could get to where I am now at a little bit of a faster pace. I might say that. But that
And
would be
leave it at that. I second that. I like
yeah.
that. But you don't want to mess with anything too much because then your past self is getting in your brain.
Yeah, that, like I think you said it right. I think it matters where you're at in life. My life isn't the greatest thing in the world compared to whatever, but it's good to me. We talk about there was an audition we were talking about the other day at my show, and they were like talking about an audition I had. It was a pretty big audition that I didn't go to, and they laughed because it was a big part, and I didn't go. And they were just like, "Imagine if you went, you got that part," and they were like, "But we wouldn't know you," and I go, "Yeah, and I'm all right with knowing you guys." You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
because you think about it, you wouldn't know all the people you know, and like I can't take that away. So I mean, as a good and the good and the bad, I'm still alive. I'd probably tell myself not to, make sure, be careful of that one redhead in the corner there.
or maybe if I was if I was an older Buck Wonder, I would tell the younger Buck Wonder to go have that lunch with Jack Klugman. That's all.
Yeah, okay, that would be a good one. That is a story I have that I didn't go to have lunch with Jack Klugman. Yes, and I'll get into that one day. Yes, that would.
There's another Twilight Zone Hall of Fame.
It would probably be something small like that. That's actually a good one though, because it'd be something like just tiny that you like a little regret you have. Yeah, it probably would be. So I would approach myself and I would say like maybe spend some time with your grandfather, your father.
Yeah,
yeah. Or something like that.
Wolfman,
That might be a
great
simple
question. Wolfman,
yeah.
that is a hell of a question. Yeah, but you know what? More family stuff, not the lottery numbers, the pick six, but yeah, you know what? Spend some more time with your dad or your mom or your grandparents.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy it and enjoy it. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, probably like, and that rash isn't going to go away.
Well, that got to stay away from those redheads.
Exactly. Oh,
Well,
anyway, yeah, well, yeah, Wolfman, you let us know. Anybody out there, let us know. It'd be kind of an interesting thing before we wrap it up
yeah.
here. All right, so we talked about this. So our cast for this.
All right. We'll bring it up. I like what this was funny. We don't do our casting calls. We don't discuss it beforehand, but when we filmed Walking Distance, because of the connection, we both had Ron Howard as Mr. Sloan. And for those who don't know, little Ronnie Howard played the Wilcox boy in this episode, and just we had a mind meld, as the kids say, and we both had the adult Ron Howard, as Mr. Sloan. Uh, Buck went a little bit more on the comedic angle with Jason Segel,
Yep.
which I like. I like. I went with David Tennant, great character actor. I believe he is Scottish, as Martin Sloan. I think he's another one. He could be my Jack Klugman. I'm going to put him in multiple.
You
Hey,
stole
Boz.
that one quick. You stole that one quick. I'm gonna take him too at some point. He's just good.
Thanks for joining us, Boz.
Hey, Boz, how you doing?
But I do like Jason Segel as yours. Went a different route than I did.
Yeah, I think I know Boz. By the way, yeah, and Jason Segel I think would be good. I think he's got that like a little bit of like that wondering thing. I don't know. I think give him a shot.
Yeah, and that's why I Tenet as kind of just you can play in the distance, like just the confusion, and just he tells a lot in his face. As Ed Young did.
He's comedic as well.
He is
great comedy. He's another one. He's like McAvoy there. I mean, he's one you can just put in anything as well.
He might be my Klugman.
Yeah,
you're gonna hear him a couple more for me.
Yeah. So, and we had the Ron Howard thing was funny because I thought I was being like really like, oh, it'd be great if we put Ron Howard because he was in there. And we put him, and we both thought of that, which just seems like we're just two simple people, I'm sure.
That's what it is. I thought we were smart for a minute, but I think we just talked too much and we figured that one out.
Yeah, we're like, oh, yeah, it wasn't good. All right, so so let's do the ending of this before we wrap it up. Let's do the ending. What do you have for the ending? For what happens to Martin when he goes back to New York?
He quit his job. He quit his job. He didn't want to get any more ulcers. He realized he's got to slow down. Martin moved down south. He moved to Key West, Florida, and he is writing self-help books. And he also started just a fishing charter business. Just goes out there, takes people out when he wants, and just chills. He has no anxieties whatsoever. Has a couple beers. And he's writing his self-help books.
Was he drinking with Hemingway while he was down there?
Of course he is. Of course he is. And a young Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, there you go. Well, there it is. All right, you went out a little outside the box there, Doc. I like it. Happy, of course. Mine was Martin returns home. He goes back, quits his job, does come home, and buys the old ice cream parlor. And he makes a chain of them because he is an advertising guy. Makes a chain of them, and he's got the best ads that are out there of all time. And he introduces Fudgy the Whale to everybody.
Oh, love it!
Yes, and he's just happy as the ice cream man.
That's so cool. So cool. Well, we hope to do this every 5 episodes. That. For the show, we have released our banter and breakdown, as we call it, of the first 5 episodes. They're on YouTube. If you get the chance, if you watch them, hopefully you like them. Hit that button, as they say. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with this. We're also gonna take some nominations for our Triple Clowns Twilight Zone Hall of Fame in these performances.
Yeah, we have so many things we're talking about like that, like the Hall of Fame performances. Um, I know, Wolfman. We know. I know, we know. You're absolutely right. Though. Difficult just got modern after those parts because the original was so perfect. I know.
Yeah, you're right.
We're stuck. I know. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they were perfect. It's almost like a disservice. Yeah.
So are you typing this as you're going with?
No, it's not me. It's not.
Okay.
Me. I think I know who it is though. But remember that redhead in the corner?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, but you're right. You're right, Wolfman. It is hard, and it's almost that's why we started doing it because I think Doc and I would talk about being like, you imagine trying to cast this, and I'm pretty sure that's how this came about of the idea of doing it because we'd go back and forth and be like, well, who could be as good as that actor? Who's as good as Gig Young in this? And you can't imagine, there's certain actors and certain parts, right, that you can never imagine someone else playing. 95% of parts you could be like, if that guy played that part, it'd be fine. I mean, you look at like what Eric Stoltz was going to play Marty McFly, right?
Right.
And then Michael J. Fox did. Now, could you picture Stoltz playing Marty McFly? Probably not, right? I mean, it's kind of like that, I would say. But
yeah, that is accurate, Wolfman.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. 100 are still with us today.
Yeah, I was telling you that the other day.
Yeah,
and it's not all the kid actors either, which is amazing.
Yeah, I know. And guess what? I mean, out of those 100, I mean, clock's a ticking. I mean, I'm not, but life is life, and we need to get a couple on here. I think we need to talk to some. Let's do our thing.
Yeah. I mean, they're in their 80s, 90s. Jean Marsh, who we're going to cover in a couple episodes in The Lonely, she's still with us.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, Garrett. And yeah, we're gonna play around with it and do this every 5 and have some fun with it. And hopefully, like I said, this community I think we can build up and it'll be really cool. I think it'll be
cool. We just like the interaction, and if you want us to do other things, whatever. I'm Doc Wagner on Twitter. We have our Triple Clowns account too. I should say X. But if you guys like this, how this episode went, how this live show went, if you didn't like it, let us know. This is kind of new. Like Buck said, we just want to get a conversation rolling around about the greatest show of all time.
Yeah. We just want to talk about it. And however it is, we open up a forum for people just to come in here and we'll spout our, we're not geniuses by any.
No, I don't even know how to spell genius, but
genius is. But yeah, so we're gonna do a lot more of this. We're gonna do we're talking about doing like worst bad guys, best bad guys. Maybe we'll do like top 5 characters we'd want to go have a beer with. Who knows? Like stuff like that. We're gonna do some fun stuff with it. And I learn a lot from you guys.
Like I said, let us know in the comments what you may want or what you want to interact with, and it's fun just talking to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. So without further ado, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Like I said, you can reach out to us, the Triple Clowns. You can find us everywhere. You can find Doc on X and all that other good stuff. Facebook, we're on there, right? Doc,
I think so. Yeah. I have to talk to our IT person, but yeah, definitely Twitter or X, Reddit as well.
This IT person, they just fix computers. I think it's a social media person, maybe, or something. So old.
Yeah, we had fun. We hope everybody had fun. Wolfman, Wolfgang, Garrett,
everybody.
Bucks fan club. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh, I think I know who you are, Wolf. I know exactly who you are. You just met him, right? At a convention.
Oh, that's awesome.
the Imprinter's Devil. That's with our guy.
I know.
You know, he was right over your shoulder.
Yeah. Right. Nope, that side.
Other shoulder, yeah. Mick.
Yeah.
That's Wolfman, thank you. I think I know who you are. That's yeah, Wolfman actually put together the list that I was telling you about on X. I believe there's like 109 actors that are still with us, give or take. And he put out put out all their birthdays too. So you see, it's one big freaking community, which I love.
Yeah, a lot of wolves though. I noticed Wolfgang, Wolfman. I feel like I need a rabies shot before I do the show. I mean, a lot of wolves here. I'm just saying.
Wolfman, if you know what's happening with if you can get us in contact, God, that would be awesome.
That'd be great. That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. But that's yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you so much. And we had fun here too. And we'll do it again soon. Hopefully we'll be able to do some more and do this more often. Right now we're just going to do after we do the first 5, but you never know. Actually looks like it's you holding. That's so weird. You're literally holding it exactly where your shoulders are. That's pretty good. I got to admit. On that note, we'll see you later, everybody. Thank you.